All right, spring has sprung. I'm Brett. This is Desiree, and you're watching The Engaged Life on the Engaged Network. We're back at it again. Once again, my name is Brett Esslinger. This is my lovely wife, Desiree. We're the pastors here at Engaged Church up in Spruce Grove and Stony Plain, Alberta, Canada. And if you don't know where that is, Google is more than happy to help you find it. For those of you who call this area home and call Engage home, what up, fam? It's good to see you today. We are continuing on our conversation that we had last week. So if you need to get caught up, you can just click the button down below and we'll hook you up with that. But we were talking about discouragement, the big old dream killer known as discouragement. And we thought we would take it one step further because we called it the dream killer. So we might as well talk about dreams. And I'm not talking necessarily about the dream that you had last night because you ate too much pizza or you ate nachos really late and you had too much spicy guacamole. Though, great decision. We're talking about the dreams in our hearts and how do we accomplish or fulfill those dreams? How do we know that we're doing the right thing? You know, we've all had those moments where we feel like we're doing the absolute wrong thing and we're making the wrong choice. So like, how do we know that it's the right thing? Like, what does it look like to live your dream, to pursue that? So just, again, it's simple, but it's not easy. So we're talking about dreams right here on the Engaged Life. I want to remind you that you can send in questions. I'm at Brett Esslinger. She's at Des Esslinger. Or you can email brett@engagedchurch.ca, and we love to answer your questions. And we're so thankful for the feedback. So keep those messages and emails and texts and tweets and things coming. Also, don't forget all the show notes here where we kind of break out some of the topics are available right below. So we're right here on the Engaged Life, and we're talking about dreams. And what do we do with dreams? How do we accomplish our dreams? So, Desiree, what's the answer? What's the solution?
I don't think there is one solution, but you know, when we were talking about this topic and what we've kind of been going through the last few sessions and talking about discouragement, and you know, I felt like that really tied into a conversation about dreams because it breaks my heart watching people either walk away from dreams or feel like they can't accomplish their dreams or feel like they've just been like, you know, pushed down and just can't get there or have been too discouraged, like we talked about last time, to fulfill exactly what they've been called to do. And as I was thinking about that and we were talking a little bit, one of the things that I thought of is I think so often we have a gift or a dream in our heart or a call or whatever you want to phrase it or call it, something that we feel compelled or like we need to do or God has given us a gift to do, and we have this something in our heart that's just burning in there that we want to do. And I think so often we get so excited about it, but we miss the recognition that it takes work and we don't anticipate the side of dreams that requires the heavy lifting.
Wow.
And I think that often is kind of the pathway to discouragement.
Wow.
Because we're so excited, or we have a gift, or people tell us, oh, you should do that. That is what you are called to do. That's what you're made to do. You need to go for this. And we're pumped on life. But we often don't anticipate or recognize or kind of forget or don't even realize that to get there, it actually takes work. It takes hustle. It takes being able to break through times of discouragement.
Wow.
Like there's a lot of work involved. And everything worth fighting for is like usually an upward battle.
It's worth fighting for because you're going to have to fight for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so important, I think, that we recognize the process. We've talked about that in previous weeks.
There's purpose in the process.
There's purpose in the process and the necessity of that, but also in recognizing that it does take hard work.
I mean, I think that's super interesting. We call discouragement the dream killer.
Yeah.
It's only the dream killer if you let it kill your
dream.
We have romanticized the idea of like living your dream or following your dream or like doing the thing that you're created to do to
like
the point.
It should just
happen. It should just be easy. Like it should be simple. It should be easy. I should just be able to do what I want to do and live the life that I want to live. But if we're
overnight success.
Yeah, overnight success. You know,
which usually is never the case.
Spoiler alert,
I don't think
not a
there's
thing.
ever a story of an actual overnight success. We just don't know all the stuff that it took to get to that one pivotal moment where the tide changed.
Right. Oftentimes, like we're comparing the final product to us being in process. And we go, oh, well, if I could just be there, I could just be that, then I would have. Or we look at where somebody is and we're like, man, that was clearly, they got it made. Like we have no idea what their process was. We have no idea the fires that they've been through, the battles that they fought. What I have found to be in common with people who have achieved things that are like, or have gone further than the average person, is that they're usually willing to like work harder than anybody else in the room, but they're also willing, like, to get results that nobody else gets. You have to do things that nobody else is willing to do. So it doesn't matter. Like, that is a universal principle. And yet oftentimes we think about dreams and we're like, wow, I've got this idea, and because I have this idea and I think that this is what my life should look like, then it should just be easy. So we think about dreams, we just think that we should just be able to step into it, that there's no obstacles to overcome, and then we get sad when we hit our first roadblock and then we quit. And I'm like, do you even love what you're doing? Like, if you're willing to quit the thing that you said that your life is all about, the first sign of trouble, do you even care about that thing?
It's true. We talk about purpose in the process. Part of that is developing work ethic. And I mean, I feel like I don't have the highest standard of work ethic. I mean, I work hard, don't get me wrong, but I can clearly pinpoint areas even in my life where I'm like, I took it too lax. I'm not putting in the time or the effort that I need to put in here for what the job requires. Or if I want to get to this point, it's going to require a lot more out of me than I have been willing to put into it. But it's recognizing exactly that it does take hard work. It is about developing a strong work ethic, because once you've built something, you got to be able to carry it. And if you don't have the work ethic to build, how are you going to carry overnight success, for lack of a better word?
But I think what you just did, you actually broke something down without even realizing it. So when we talk about the idea of there's purpose in the process, what you just described was essentially failing forward, because no one can hold you accountable. Like, you don't know what you don't know.
It's true.
Right? So you get into something, you start pursuing something, you do it at a certain level, and then you get into it, you're like, whoa, this is way more work than I thought it was going to be. And you do it at a level that probably has some success, but not the complete success that you wanted to have it at. But what happened in that moment, well, what should happen in that moment is, if you got any level of self-awareness, you'd be like, okay, so if I'm going to do that again, I need to do this, 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 and this, and I have to prepare this, 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 and this, and this, because you just got an education. So even it could be the greatest failure of your life, but you learned what to do and you learned what not to do, and you learned how much sooner you needed to do it. We lead a church, and I feel like I am in a constant state of failing forward. Like, that's just how it works. Like, it's just how we do it.
It's how we figure things out.
Just because something worked in the last season, but it's not working in your current season because maybe your organization has grown or your career has taken off, it doesn't mean that thing that you used to do was bad. It just means you need something else.
It's time
for something new. And you don't have to make that thing in the past like, oh, that was the worst. No, it wasn't the worst. It worked for a season. It got you to where you are. But now you need to change and adapt, and you need to grow. I'm on a journey, I would say, in my like personal leadership and like in my leadership development, where I've realized I need to lead in a different way than I was. And if we're going to go and do all the things that God has for us, then I have to change as a person and as a leader in the way that I lead. We're always on a constant journey of discovering who we are. And those are the defining moments.
And how comfortable are you with change?
And changing yourself. And you have to be the leader of you. I think everyone needs a leader. Everybody needs a pastor in their life, someone that can help them walk through these things. But there's a level of self-awareness that's required. And what you'll find is the further you get chasing your dream, the more you need to know, the more work you need to put in, the more prepared you need to be. And it's probably not as sexy as you think it should be.
Probably not. Probably not. And two, I would say, I mean, if you believe in a God-given dream, like if you believe that God put something in your life or on your heart to do, it's a God-given dream. Part of that is also recognizing that he gave you that dream for a reason. He didn't give it to your spouse or your friend or, you know, anyone else around you. He gave it to you. And that means no one else is responsible for carrying that dream except you, which is why hard work is so essential, and understanding that.
I think about the parable of the talents, you know, master's going out of town and he gave them each a quantity and he said, do something with this. Basically, make me proud, boys, when I come back. There's one that, you know, had 5. He ended up getting 10, you know, and then another one he had 3, and then one had 1, and he just was afraid, and so he just buried it in the ground because he just didn't want to lose it. He had no faith. He did nothing with it. He just buried it in the ground. I honestly believe most of us, in the terms of our dreams, especially God-given dreams, most of us bury it in the ground because we're afraid that we're going to fail, and we don't understand that failure is the thing that actually pushes you forward. I mean, I feel like we could probably end it right there and that would be enough. So when we started this church 6 years ago now, 6 years old, we are old. Hashtag old. I managed Starbucks for the first year of the church because, well, I needed a job.
You needed a job.
And, you know,
we had a baby.
The crowds were swelling at 24 people. So you had to do something else. So I managed Starbucks for the year. I would repeatedly have people apologize to me. I actually write about this in my book, Hope Not Hype, available in the link below. I've never done that before. That was weird. Sorry. I apologize, but please buy it. I would have people apologize to me, say, I'm so sorry for where you are in life. And I'm like, what do you mean you're sorry from where I'm at in life? I'm in the exact city where I'm supposed to be, living in the community that I'm supposed to be living in, starting a church, leading people that need to be led. God's got something. And I could see down the road. I could see the potential. They couldn't see that there was purpose in my process, that I had to live here. Now, the amazing thing is we got people still from Starbucks that come to our church that are a huge part of what we're doing. And people still come back. Like, those were important days. And it was in those days, I say this phrase all the time, living the dream. That's when I started saying it, because I had these people come up to me and be like, oh, we're so sorry. It's too bad that you have to do this, that you can't have a real job. I'm like, what are you talking about, a real job? These people work insanely hard. You people are too picky on your coffee orders. Ramp it down a little bit. Be grateful for what you're being given, okay? We could try that. People started asking me how I was doing, and I would say, oh, I'm living the dream. And I said that because I was, but I was saying that also because I needed to remind myself that this is my journey. This is my process. I'm going to get there. But this is the road.
And that achieving the dream doesn't usually look like we think it should look. And that's okay.
We're going to hit pause right here, right now. There's so much here. We're going to keep going next week. We're going to keep unpacking this. So make sure you come back and join us right here on the Engage Life